Activision Blizzard continues their trend, Jeff, of yeeting people directly into the sun. And they have laid off another estimated 190 people. Originally, it was estimated 50. That number went up real quick, much like the Kickstarter for Stellaris. The numbers were they aimed low and they shot high. 190 people apparently on this list, almost exclusively in the esports division. Is where all of these layoffs came from.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, where is Blizzard in esports?
Where is Activision in esports?
Yeah.
So, and with obviously the last year with events and stuff being the way that they are, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised either, to be honest.
Yeah.
That it was happening. I mean, if you look at how Blizzard and stuff was trying to do Overwatch League, for example, and they had they even had the talking about shooting high, like shooting for the stars. They had those like the concept where every team or almost every team had like their own local arena to play in and do the video shooting in, right?
Yeah.
That's fucking nutty, right? You're taking an esport that you're not even sure is going to stick long term. You're charging tens of millions of dollars for slots in the league. And then you're having people as like a prerequisite as well, to my recollection anyway, have to build these arenas or have these arenas available for players to show up and have these games.
Yep.
Which is the amount of money is just crazy. And esports is not yet in a spot where organizations are prolific enough in making money to support that. It just doesn't exist. Like, you'll have initial cash injections, right? Like, you'll have them find sponsorships for the teams, and like the initial cash injections are usually pretty good, and they can be millions of fucking dollars. But that money doesn't always stick around. At some point, the investors go, all right, we need to see that you guys can actually stand on your own 2 feet, and we're not just pumping money into you, forever. And so when Overwatch League basically bit the dust, even before, I mean, COVID didn't help, but it was going to be dead.
I mean, it was dying anyway.
With or without it, right?
Yeah. COVID just basically,
an unneeded but extra nail in the coffin, basically, at that point.
I actually think, honestly, COVID probably helped them more than anything. It probably gave them an easier exit. Probably like, yep, you know what? It was a slow die, and now we have an excuse. You know, now we can just end this.
And then as far as like, where's Activision in esports? Well, it comes down to basically more or less Call of Duty League.
Call of Duty, that's
right?
it.
And that's not a major player in esports at all. I mean, the games make lots of money. The esport is just kind of there. So I'm not surprised that this is happening at all. 190 people, mostly in the esports division. It's it's always sad because esports has been like the struggle bus for years to get itself legitimized, and every time you see more and more mass layoffs like this in esports divisions, it's just another signal that esports is not yet ready in general for the big time. It's no matter how many eyeballs you seemingly put on it, and I think some of it is what we talked about before here in the podcast, where the most successful esports are those that aren't forced. They're the ones that grew out of a community and had community support before corporate came in and started throwing money at it, like CSGO, for example, or StarCraft back in the day, already was established before it got its lift up. And then ironically, the corporate putting their hands in the cookie jar, invariably with StarCraft 2, fucked it up, like when they did with the WCS, and they started fucking with the grassroots organizations getting points to get into WCS, and it was like the catalyst, the beginning of the end for North American StarCraft esports. So it's unfortunate. So 190 people gone. Thankfully though, the severance packages for the 190 people or whatever it was are actually quite good. They're getting it's better than average at the very least for severance packages, and it also includes healthcare for the rest of 2021. So
that's good.
They're as taken care of as you could hope for in this situation, I would say. And certainly more than I would have expected out of Activision, to be honest with you. So there you go. They've got that going for them. What is still hotly contended, though, and this is inside the company and inside the company's share and stakeholders, is that Bobby Kotick is still on track for pulling down $200 million in bonuses. And their reasoning for why they're fighting this internally, even as their own, like, they're obviously, as shareholders, they're happy that the share price has gone up. But they're also looking at what's been going on within the company, and what Bobby's been doing to help get that share price up, and comparing it across the industry and within the company itself in terms of how much pay has gone up internal to the company amongst even other C-level employees and other higher-ups, et cetera, et cetera. And they're looking at going, this is a little too disconnected. Yeah, we're very, pleased, and it's impressive that the stock price is done when it's done, but we have to maybe be a little bit mindful of just how fucking crazy we're going here. $200 million in bonuses, some of which are retroactive, so they're going back years.
I would imagine a lot of this, the vast majority of it would be stock, right? They're not going to just write this guy a check. I would imagine.
No, it's stocks and options. I mean, the company's not going to have $200 million sitting around to handle.
So I mean, yeah, he might be getting a stock option worth $200 million, but a lot of the times you can't just cash out that. There's rules and regulations around being able to cash that stuff out. You're basically just given a bunch of stock value, paper value, until you actually sell it. So I mean, I'm not really 100% sure, but I mean, if the company has profited so much, then I mean, that's why you're in those big boy positions, is to reap the benefits of those. So I don't know. I mean, whenever guys and plebeians like ourselves are talking about $200 million bonuses, it's just above our pay grade. Like, I just don't, like, I understand business enough, but they're hard. Those are hard numbers to even fathom somebody getting, especially when you're hearing people losing their jobs and different things like that. But I mean, it's corporate. I mean, it's just the way.
Yeah. Oh, that's
the way this machine
absolutely.
Works, right?
It's how the machine works, and that's why I think it's important to note that it's the shareholders and stakeholders, some of which are massive investment firms, not just an individual, but massive investment firms stepping in and going, "Hey, we should maybe look at this," because it's such a discrepancy amongst, like, industry-wide and internally. No matter what metric we stack up against here, this is arguably too much, and so they're still looking at that as terms of how much, because a lot of this is also retroactively Bobby claiming on stuff as well, going back years. So, so there's even some stuff that apparently the SEC has looked at and went, maybe. So we'll see how it gets. He's obviously going to make a lot of money one way or the other. It doesn't matter. It's just how much. It's just how much at this point he's gonna get. And just as a reminder, so 190 sounds like a lot of people, but I even forgot this. Last year, they laid off more than 800 people and closed down an entire branch in France, I believe it was, for Activision Blizzard. So this just continues their pattern of thinning the herd as they deem necessary, which is a natural thing to do, I suppose. But yeah, it's always going to be a hard pill to swallow for anyone that gets laid off. They see the CEO making just hand over fist, and then they lay off 800 people in a calendar year. It's kind of the same thing as trying to, like, look at, remember when Disney laid off, like, that was worse. Disney's one was worse, where it was like tens of thousands of people got laid off, and then they, in the same breath, they took the C-level salaries and brought it back to pre-COVID level payout. So it was like they just laid off like fucking hordes of people and immediately just gave themselves a pay raise back to pre-COVID levels. Not that they would have not been making like way more than enough money as it was already, but yeah, it's always kind of a sketchy thing to look at when they pair those two things together.